Hello and welcome to the RTO Show. I'm your host, Pete Shau. Today we're talking rent-to-own AI again. This is our last part of a 6-part series. We've made it through 6 parts already.
Gosh.
Daniel Hajduk from Vox Populi is here to talk to me about how we make it through with AI. And we've talked about how and what AI is, how you can use it to talk about who your customers are and how to dial in your AI marketing and all types of different tips. Well, today, AI is going to be about you. It's going to be about your day-to-day and how we really affect that. How do we make AI we've talked about that office secretary.
How
already,
does this truly become?
How does she do it?
Your front office.
I say she. I should have said that. How does it do it? You know, I don't want to classify it one way or another, but how does it do it? What is it that I do that's going to utilize this? We've talked on a general basis of how it can help, but now we're going to dive a little bit deeper in
Your day-to-day tasks.
the day-to-day tasks. I'm going to be
so
here,
fun.
and this is exactly how I'm going to use it. I'm going to make this work for me. So, Daniel, the first thing that I think about is like inventory.
Yeah.
Inventory is what, I mean, I need it to grow. I need it to sell. It's literally the next big thing except to having a store and actual people work for me. In the sense of inventory management, how does Vox use inventory management through AI or could use it through AI to make everything work?
So it's something it's growing with the technology and new systems we're getting in anyway. We used to really not have anything inventoried or systemized, whatever you want to call that. But it started for me, at least, what I was working on was our polos. Certain clients' company uniforms that we kept on hand, the blank versions of it, because we knew the volume we were getting, but we were kind of blind. And again, this is not on the scale that you guys are dealing with furniture, appliances, technology.
Right.
I couldn't even begin to imagine how to deal with that. I was just simply trying to make us be more efficient with our polos that we were selling because we had different colors. We had all these different sizes. And, well, we need to figure out what we need to order because we are ordering them on a daily basis. But how do we know what we need to order without wasting our time and having to go manually into the warehouse and sort through the boxes and see what's on the shelves, how they're organized? Well, simply, we used AI to figure out how much we should keep on hand. So we figured out what are the amount of orders we're getting in this size every day. So we're not keeping, the red extra small and mins, we maybe go through a box of 24 in a year at most.
At most.
Do we really need to keep 3 boxes on hand because it looked empty and that's what we used to order? Oh, now we're able to do that. Now that gives us the parameters that we put into our first inventory system that we use for that. And now it would just give the person ordering a ping when it went low, if it went low, at the quantity we set because we figured out what do we know and how can we organize that better? Because we're just looking at this. We've been doing this for 4 years. We got into the apparel business right around COVID. I don't know about y'all. Inventory was miserable managing. There was so much stuff we bought because first off, we wanted to deliver our apparel. So we was like, well, we can't sell apparel if we don't have it. So we got to buy it. So we overbought on things because we wanted to make sure we had it so we knew we could ship it out. Well, and then because things would go out of stock just for months. Now that's not the case. So now we need to be smarter because we can be. It's time to get our margins back. It's time to make our warehouse look cleaner. It's time to make the people's jobs easier by not having to blindly sort through things. We figured that out all with that. And again, it's just shirts, but now it's leading to all the different displays we have and all the different types of paper and everything. And it's just making life that much clearer on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Which, why waste time figuring out what you need to buy? We'll just tell you, I need to buy this.
I know because, when we talk about inventory, what we sell is just as important as what's coming up. Mm-hmm. And inventory management comes in so many different forms. What am I selling? What is the hot item? And more importantly, not only what the hot item is now, what is it going to be? So you have historical data, you have the new items that are coming in, and you have what's already selling.
Right.
So if I was to take AI, my idea is to, you want to stick it on a spreadsheet and say, what have I sold in the last 30 days? What have I sold in the last 60 days? What have I sold in the last 90 days?
Look at your trends.
And look at the trends, and then go to the next 3 months on your last 3 years and be able to put that in, create a spreadsheet for that so that you can pull back out and go, okay, I can expect this is the season that's coming. This is what's coming up. Now, I know that we have the regular historical data when we talk, I think we talked last episode about, like Thanksgiving. I know what's going to be selling on Thanksgiving. But we'd like to say, on President's Day, we like to sell mattresses because everybody else has mattresses.
Yeah.
Is that really what we sell, though? Is it really that important?
Or is it? You don't know that.
We don't know, right? And so taking all that data and going over your inventory and then saying, you know what, this is a great idea. Also using it for lead times. I order this particular person, I usually get this particular lead time. Entering that into AI and saying, you know what? I know that we need sofas. I usually order from here, and this is the lead time. Well, then you should order it now, or 2 weeks from now.
Not just the sorting part of it, like we're talking about, to look at what has happened. It can look at what has happened and pull from all of its sources and predict. So like you're saying for lead time, well, I know that we sold 50 of these at this time last year, and well, it took me this long to get it out because we only could get so many in from our vendor. How can I pre-plan for that better? So you know that you can deliver that. So again, then you're going back all the way to last episode. We're improving the customer experience because we planned out. We didn't just guess. We use data. We use AI to not just sort, but to predict.
And I think there's so much there. Utilizing this tool, it's almost like it's the basic, most easiest organizer to use. I'm going to give it information. It's going to organize it. It's going to tell me what's good, bad, or indifferent. It's going to give me the green light or the yellow light or the red light, and just kind of feed it back to me in a way that I can understand. Because we mentioned, another thing would be like scheduling. We've mentioned it, but to be able to say, okay, I have 5 different employees, 40 hours apiece. They work this many days. I have to give them an hour lunch, and it has to be between 10 and 7.
So easy with that.
And then how does it not overlap or whatever the case is? I need to fit these hours in this time frame. I do a Monday morning meeting that starts at 9:30 versus 10 o'clock, a Friday meeting that starts at 9:30 versus 10 o'clock, but I still got to have 40 hours.
Stop stressing about it.
Right. And put that in there and just like, I can do this one time.
Because you know what it's going to do? It's not going to be stressed. It's going to say, okay, I'll gladly sort through this for you and lay it out exactly how you want. A lot of the tools will give you illustrations too. So if you're a more visual person than just looking at the words and looking at numbers, it can do that for you too. Stop stressing about, well, this variant makes this variant, so I can't schedule this, so I'm just going to overschedule. I'm just going to put my time in the store and be in the store. Then I don't really need to be in there because I could be doing this. My time could be better spent here. Let it help you with that. I know people's time is just so valuable.
Well, the thought is too, is you can go into Word and type out the basic generic schedule and then copy and paste that. And then you add in the differences of what might be there. This particular guy has PTO on this particular day. So week 2, I have PTO of this. Or you can just put in dates. And this date of, this is May 2nd to May 15th. Or let me say 17th because that's 2 weeks worth. And then this particular person has PTO on that day. So I do a copy and paste and then add, Daniel has PTO on the next Wednesday. Work that in. 8 hours, still want to give a 40-hour work week. And, you can put in vacations, PTO, you can add sick times to it, or whatever the case is. Build out your 2-week schedule easy. Build it out with holidays for the next month.
You don't need some crazy service, some software product. You don't need that. I mean, sure, maybe if you're doing it from an overall huge corporate perspective, sure, where you can manage everything from there. But if you're just trying to schedule out your own store, it can do that for you with the cost of nothing, with the cost of Google.
Right. And putting it in there and saying, this particular person does variants. This or that. Yeah. Sales,
those little
collections.
things are like, well, this is something, because of this, I can't plan out. I'm going to get frustrated and not plan it out. There's no point to do that.
And it's crazy because I was just talking to somebody today about scheduling, and I never thought, why don't I just take that information and put in there and see what comes out? And then being able to go back to it and say, you know what, that doesn't work for me, and I can change that. And again, we're not hurting anybody's feelings. We're just telling them, hey, that doesn't work. I need something different. And then give me a different scenario to come back out with. Scheduling is something that it doesn't seem important until you're writing on the end of 40 hours. And you're going, oh my God, I got to let this guy go early, or I've got to be willing to pay overtime, or I've got to make sure that they took all their breaks. And
that's one thing we're doing too. Different bases of how we handle things, but we're like, hey, we're getting really busy here. Well, what is the next? How can we figure out how we can manage their time better? So what does that really mean? Do we need to hire someone else, and where do we need to hire them? We're not just saying, well, let's just copy and paste. No, let's really look at it and figure out where we can match. It's playing Tetris. It's really good at the game too.
And we talked, because this is kind of like a recap of everything that we already have talked about. When you're talking, we kind of diving a little bit more into it, but the scheduling aspect of being able to take those times and those parameters and everything that happens and putting into an AI and getting something back is easy. It's accessible, and it's something
So
that you can do every single week. Inventory scheduling, as far as what's coming in, what's going out, and what you have that's hot right now, is also something like that. If you want to also take a look at some of the things that you have sitting there. How long have they been sitting there? And you can kind of go in your AI and tell you, hey man, you don't really sell this. You have a lot of this, but you don't sell it. Don't order it again. It looks good because you like it. And
it passed the eye test.
Right. You like it, but it doesn't mean that that's what's going to sell in your store. You know what I mean? And the pink pom-poms sell the most. You don't like those, but that's really what the hot item is. And so getting past that is like one of those, God, I didn't know that. Utilizing it for your scheduling, utilizing it for, and I think we mentioned this a couple of episodes ago too, but your collection routing. Adding that and saying, okay, I have a service here, I have a delivery here, I have a pickup here in order of importance and the 2-hour time frames that I've said, 3-hour time frames, whatever people say. And how do you route that out the best? I think it's just these everyday items that we have that we could use AI. And of course, as you get better, you get faster. You know what to say, you know what to input, you know what to look for.
You learn it.
And you know how to digest the answers that it's giving you. Because it's a two-way street. You use it better, and it will respond to you better because you're responding to it better. Almost like putting better gas in the engine, right? And then turning around, and now it's a little bit faster, and it's a little bit faster, and I'm tuning it up. And seeing that and seeing the smarter, not harder idea is always like, how do I used to say this a lot as a GM, is I always want to take out the next 5 minutes to plan out the next 5 hours. I don't want to go into it blindly and going, okay, I'm going to shoot from the hips, because every time I do that, something in there goes wrong. And it's either I forgot something or something comes up and I didn't prepare for it.
You could have handled it so much better.
Oh yeah. And like we said, I'm not looking for the detailed plan where it can tell me the brushstrokes. I just need something to give me the bones, the frame, right? And I always think of it like one of those pictures that has the numbers and all those little spots where you can take the color and put it there, like number 5 is blue and I painted it. You can do that, or I can change whatever 5 is. I can change the frame of it. But I have a bones of an idea of, okay, this is what it should look like at the end. So my scheduling is better, and my inventory is better, and my service is better when I can get there on time and kind of put this in and say, you know what, between these hours, there's a rush hour time frame, and this is lunch hour, and whatever the case is. So you know what, I set somebody up for Tampa all the way on the other side between 5 and 7. Yeah, it's going to take them an hour to get there, an hour to get back.
That's one thing I was just going to bring up.
Yeah, so it's that time frame. It's like it takes you a while to get there, but it's going to also take a while to get back. So don't put on 3 deliveries there. And you can have your AI remind you of that. You just put in that it's harder. The traffic's a little harder between 5 and 7. You're not going to be able to do that. Those simple tools are these everydays.
Yeah.
That are super important. The training that really goes into what we do every day, and how you can figure out how to use that, and how to cover making the training videos that we kind of talked about, and I think it was the first or second episode where I can make training videos. I can kind of figure out how to do the what to's, but also, and you mentioned on the last one, the SOP, the standard operating procedures of what I need to do, and be able to get that out in a good time frame, and be able to update it as quickly as possible with some of the things that I need to do.
Yeah.
Getting all that information back, so vitally important, with the speed, crazily enough, the accuracy that it can give you, even if it's not what you're looking for, it can give you that directional piece. I seldom take a look at the operations manual, and is it outdated? Is it something, you know what I mean? Like you don't really look at it, but being able to create, generate, fix, and replace fast is so much better. I don't know if we've always tackled the online idea is something that I've seen in a couple of different companies. And again, I'm not saying this to everybody, but there isn't a place in there for the online procedures. It just hasn't been there. It's vital. It's here. We tell people this is what you should do, but we're not teaching that from the get-go. I don't have any sales.
Let me ask you something. Are you getting everything out of your rent-to-own business? If you're not an A-Pro member, then the answer is probably no. Look, advocacy is A-Pro's bread and butter. This is why they were created and what they do best. But here's the thing. A-Pro membership is about way more than advocacy. A-Pro connects you to the movers and the shakers of the industry. People who've been there, done that, and they can help you do it even better. A-Pro's monthly webinars give you expert insights and actionable takeaways. It's like having a masterclass for your business every single month. Got questions about complex regulations or sticky situations? No problem. A-Pro's legal hotline gives you direct access to experts who have got the answers. That's a peace of mind that you can't put a price on. And let's not forget the resources, news, updates, and tools that keep you ahead of the curve. Scholarships for your team? Check. Disaster relief when you need it most? Double check. APRO is your ultimate support system in the rent-to-own world. So stop settling for less. With APRO, members get more. More support, more connections, and more success. Head over to rtohq.org and join the APRO family today. Because in this business, more isn't just better. It's essential. See you at the top with APRO.
This is how you vacuum the floor. But I mean, getting past that, one thing that I've seen with some new managers is like they come in and are like, how do I do all of this? I have a new manager right now, and she's saying the same thing. Like sometimes she forgets, or it's a new thing, and it's like, okay. The greatest thing that I think an AI can do is be the task manager. And you can build that into whether you want to talk on your phone and say, I have to do this by 5. I have to do this by 6. I want this, done. And, hey, Siri, or whatever the case is. And you say, hey, I need a reminder by 5 o'clock that I need to get my inventory done. I can set up a reminder at 4:30 that it has to be done by 5, whatever the case is. Or you can go in and create this generalistic list, right? In any particular week, I need to do my inventory by this day. I need to do my return sales calls every single day, right? So it went out yesterday, so today I've got to call and find out how those sales went, or my sales callbacks, however they're put. My collections in saying, okay, this week I'm going to work out these different things between 10 to 7. I've got all these different things to do. I need to do this on different days, and let it build you a task management schedule. Not a schedule where somebody comes in at 10 and they have breakfast, or they have lunch at 12 and they leave at 7, but more like, on Tuesdays, you have to have your inventory done by 2. On Wednesdays, you should have your callbacks done by 10. You should have a call through done by, at this particular time, you should be starting your call through. Your run should be done at this time. And the more information you feed it, the better it will get back to you and saying, does that mean that your week will actually go that way? God, no. I'm in rent to own. It never goes the way. No. But you go back to the bones. And so, you know what? It's 10 o'clock. Or 7 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I'm totally lost in my day. I forgot where I was. Oh, yeah. According to my schedule that I printed out on Monday, this is exactly what I need to be getting done. And that task management ability to either do it on your phone or do it on a Chat GPT or Claude, it's all there. I think you can even talk to Alexa and tell her to remind you stuff. If you want to put that.
It's all the same. It's there. It's all integrated with it, and it's all doing its own thing. So yes, use it. Hey, just set it when you can because it'll help you. Tell Alexa, tell Siri, set this reminder.
You think? What do you think would be crazy to have one of those things at the counter and just be like, hey, just remind me at 2 o'clock we got to do this delivery. Hey, remind me that I have to order this part.
It's not crazy if it works.
I never thought about that till just right now. Like how crazy would it be to have an Alexa sitting at the counter?
It's your office manager yelling at you. Do this. Who's that? Oh, it's Alexa. Oh gosh.
Oh my God.
She's gonna get mad at us because we need to do this.
Hey Alexa, remind me that we have this, this service part that needs to be ordered.
But she can also play music.
Hey Alexa, in between, make sure that you play this music.
She's a multitasker.
But it's just every time that we talk about something, it's just something new.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that we would want to do that because I know there's a lot of reasons we probably wouldn't want to do that. But the thought is that you have this AI manager right next to you to do these things. And I think when I think of task management, I don't necessarily think of I should build out a week every single week. Maybe at the first couple of weeks just to get my mind into it, and then I'll probably be able to remember that.
Set up some windows.
Yeah.
So that's what we've taken an initiative of trying to do that. We can never plan out our day because we know there's always going to be something coming up.
Right.
But I know from 10 to 2 or 10 to 12, I'm going to work on these type of projects or work on this type of task these days of the week. I don't know. There's going to be something that comes up, but we leave this window for that. Just lay it out. Get an idea, because then you're going to train your own mind to understand it, and it's going to become second nature.
Yeah. Now my mind is like reeling with
hey,
this idea.
I can't plan out that I know I'm going to work on this exact thing or deal with this exact customer every day of the week at this time of the day. But I know that this is going to come up and I can have this window for it. We'll create those windows so you can at least go into your day and you can look at your calendar. All right, I got this set. I know I have an idea of how my day's going to go. So no matter what firestorms happen, you have a direction on where you're flying.
I mean, we've kind of talked about the infancy in AI as far as I don't know what it is. What is it? how does it affect your day? How can we get it to affect your customers? How can we get it to now? I mean, we're talking about how we can literally make our day easier with AI. The overall aspect of this and the goal of the entire podcast was to really kind of break it down and say, these are the different ways that you can currently use AI without putting a bot into your OS software at every single store and say, you know what, you can use your phone, you can use a chat GPT. You have the ability to take these, basically even these two, and utilize it to make your day better with all of these. And at the end of this, do you feel like, because you've used it more, do you feel like AI has really fixed a lot of, I wouldn't say fixed, but helped you get to where you want to be faster, easier? And what are the hypes and what are the problems that you might see somebody new, using it, saying, you know what, I don't know if I really want to go that route? Because I can see people in my head going right now, I'm going to stay away from AI. This has not convinced me. I listen to it, I like it, but it's not convinced me.
It's not me. What was that first question again? Sorry, I had a great answer for it. I want to make sure I'm answering it right.
What do you say for those people that have say, I've tried it, I don't want to try it, I want to get out of it, I don't think it's good, I have these two forms of AI that are readily available to me, it's not really going to go. It's not what I want to do.
You're going to have to. Like, if you haven't been convinced now that it's, we haven't learned now that it's in everything.
The first question is, have you seen it? Has it sped up your life? Have you gotten out of it what you thought you would get out of it?
It's a great feeling when you realize that it can do something that you couldn't do before in a certain way. When a light bulb goes off in your head, it's a great feeling because you didn't have to reinvent the wheel or something, but you either saved some time, you either, again, laid out something that you couldn't lay out the way it did. And it's just kind of when that like light bulb goes off, that's yes. So yes, because like I said, before we had apparel tear sheets, we were kind of just selling based off what we knew, the couple items that people bought. Now we have it broken down into 4 categories, and it makes life so much easier. And now it's literally on an 8x11 piece of paper. So it's kind of just waking up to it and where it can be assistance in your pocket.
What was your wake up moment? At the end of in the 6th episode, we've gone through all of it. How do you use it? How does it make it better? In the different ways that you can look forward, backward, and analyze your data. What was your breakthrough moment to say, you know what, I want to do this?
So I remember when people started talking about the news and when OpenAI first came out with ChatGPT, because that was like the ball drop of AI, in my opinion. That's where everything on CNBC was talking about, well, AI companies this and now everything. Now they're going to come out with this and their stock's going to go up. And it's like, whatever. Again, it was more of just a back thought thing that no one, like, it doesn't affect the everyday guy. It's going to be some software that some guy uses. Then time went on and you start seeing it everywhere. And I think when we were at a training workshop and they were talking about, I think it was really the personas and breaking down how to personalize stuff to your customer was kind of like the wow.
How you really make it work for you.
It makes me look, it's not writing me the perfect essay. Holy crap. It laid out something for me with a barely noticeable tweak, but something that can give you a completely different result with a customer. Sorry if that doesn't make sense, but it was like, it was able to take the same 3-paragraph essay and it's writing to 2 different types of people. And 95% of it's not different, but it made that 5% get that extra applause from each crowd for their own reasons.
I mean, does it dress it up when and you use it? Is it the way it dresses it up, or is it the approach, or what?
Sometimes I like it better than others, but being able to give that, you can make anything sound fancy. I don't know if you've ever seen this. There's a guy on, I guess it's a TikTok, but you know what he uses the AI for? To write the most random songs that you can imagine. So it's like,
I thought you were going to say an obituary.
You know what? That's the sad thing is you could write everything with it. You can write your obituary with it.
Obituary. I was like, oh my God.
But he makes like AI made a country song about microphones dancing on a desk. And it'll write a country song sounding like you're at a country concert in summer.
That's cool.
And it was just kind of like, it's stupid, but it's not, because it shows you that it can just do whatever. And it can make anything. It can build out anything.
What do you see for AI in the future, right? So we're saying the future is AI. That's a very big term, right? That's, it's artificial intelligence. You've got quantum computing. You've got all kinds of things that are coming down the pipe. What do you see, as AI starts getting more daily, right, in our daily lives, we're already seeing it when we order on Amazon. We're seeing it when we're going on Facebook. We're seeing it when we talk about, we've talked about on Google as you do it. As I'm looking up the questions that I would normally ask it, how tall is the Eiffel Tower in France? Like, it really even matters. But it will now on my phone take 2 seconds. It used to give me that little thing. It's done in 0.25 seconds. It gives me that answer in 0.35 seconds. Now it doesn't do that. Now it's thinking, and then it gives me this, almost like somebody's telling me, this paragraph of not only how tall it is, when it was made, who made it, what country it's. Wow.
And then it'll ask you, do you want more details?
Right, and then it asks you more detail.
You want me to describe it in a different way?
Where do you see it going from here?
I don't think it's going to be this talked about forever. If it's done the right way, it's not going to be the brand new, the new puppy as it is right now. It's the new puppy that just your parents bought for Christmas. It's going to become just another thing that people use on an everyday basis. I say that because it's hopefully we have the right people in power of it and creating these things and using it to help humanity. There are things that it's doing that are great things within the medical industry and all these things it's speeding up and able to do. It's changing the world. So as long as we have the right people in charge with it, as long as they're doing the right things and doing it for the better, we're going to be okay. And it's going to become just another thing. It's going to become another form of gasoline.
Do you see it as a seamless daily integration?
Yeah, because it's already there in so many ways that aren't really daily integrations, but like it's integrated into how you search on Google now already. So where else is it going to be? It's going to be in technology you guys could be selling in stores even. It's going to be more in different appliances. There's going to be AI embedded fridges and stuff. There already is. And there's going to be fridges that probably talk to you and tell you, well, you should make this recipe or something. I don't know. Maybe I just invented a new product or copyrighted someone else's. But I think people need to be educated. The best thing you can do to not be scared of it is to be educated. Because just like everything else in life, it's not really that scary once you learn about it. People are scared of things if they don't know about it. So the best thing people can do is learn.
Last season I had Casper Fopp on the show, and he was telling us about the Wonder Sign and what used to be and what is now. And part of the new integration that they had is getting these search terms and definitions changed to what somebody uses in every day. In other words, we would look for certain terms, and now it's more like, just give me a description, right? Brown sofa, decently long, sectional, whatever. Left side, right side. And integrating this, part of what WonderSign will do is integrating that so that you can search on very basic terms. Now I see on TV, as we sum up this AI situation and how you can utilize it to not only make your day faster, easier, and more effective. You mentioned it on one of the previous podcasts. You can talk to your phone now, and as this conversation happens, I don't know if it's specific to Google because they have. It was a Google commercial.
It's what their new. It's what their whatever the Google
Pixel
is.
Pixel 9, I think it is. And they're having this conversation. It's not how do I make yogurt, or
this is how you make yogurt.
It's more like, I've had this type of day, and it's had this conversation with you.
It's kind of crazy.
It's crazy where it's going. But I think that being able to integrate it into the rent-to-own space, something that we trailed just a little bit. I really do.
That's okay.
And I think that with the utilization of this can really kind of leapfrog us a little bit to where we are way more competitive in a market that we weren't before.
Yeah.
Especially with stores, because again, rent-to-own is made of a lot of small dealers. Now, I'm not going to say there aren't big dealers. You have the Rent-A-Centers, you have the Aaron's, you have the Buddies, you have a lot of different areas where there's a lot. But those are three versus the many.
Yeah.
And not only that, in rent-to-own, there's a lot of independent dealers. Right? It's not like you're going to a shopping plaza and in that plaza you see 5 name brands like at the mall, right? You see a lot of name brand stores that you can see in one state, another state.
See them, same place.
Right. And it's, they same product, same stuff, just in a different area.
Yep.
But in the rent-to-own mindset, in the aspect, there are a lot of different dealers. And those different dealers might not have the ability to put this quantum computer in their back room, but to be able to have a conversation with,
Do you want your business to make an impact? Does your brand move people? Successful brands and campaigns require thoughtful, disciplined, and creative strategies to move them forward. At Vox, they don't just print. They're creative experts with a vision to take your brand to new heights. With experience in launches, rebranding, and integrated promotions, they've done it all. And they're ready to bring your project to life from concept to completion. Whether it's tents, feather flags, custom branded merchandise, they've got you covered. From direct to object printing to engraving, they put your logo on anything. With full in-house finishing capabilities, they control every detail to ensure fit, finish, and function is never a question. Experience what makes a difference. Your brand deserves a team that understands growth, creativity, and impact. Let Vox take your brand further. Contact them today and create the impact you're looking for.
Asking it an actual crazy question. Let's see what comes up.
So we asked it, how do you see AI integrating into the future? Into the RTO future, sorry. All right. It's understanding that we're talking about the rent-to-own industry.
The rent-to-own industry. All right.
Now it's thinking because it wants to give us the right answer.
Coming to the studio and sitting down and having these conversations, one of the best things that I could say is all this talk has led me to think of more things. How can I use it more? And I think it's one of those, you always hear about it, but are we utilizing it right? And I think, like you said, it's going to be more of that seamless integration from day to day. Right now, I see it as the redheaded stepchild. I don't use it that much. I'm a Gen X. I really don't. I usually have an option, and I just don't use it.
It's just another thing to you right now.
Right. But as I'm going over this and I'm saying, you know what, rent-to-own is an absolute, it would benefit me to use this in rent-to-own. After this, now I'm going, how many different ways can I really use this? How many different ways can I put this in my life and get something out of it? What does it say?
All right, so it broke it down into a couple different points. So it gave us overall categories. So customer service and sales, chatbots, predictive analytics to identify which customers are most likely to complete their contracts. So like we were talking about.
We were just talking about that.
Figuring out what your customers are, what they do, just predicting it. It can predict all that. So put your stuff in there. We all have the data. You have the data somewhere. But you don't have you just have the data, but it's not telling you anything. Ask it what you're looking for.
Yeah. Well, getting the breadcrumbs to figure out what does it take to get somebody to increase their point of value so that they can go to ownership better.
Another thing based on that, recommendation systems for suggesting appropriate merchandise based on customer history and income. Again, so we know what we know more about our product and what it does. Now we know more about our customers and what they do. Even payment management. Oh, wow, predicting that. Again, predicting late payments. Again, another thing we mentioned, automation things like payment reminders. Things like that. More and more automations of things that can just go into systems that you use. Again, some things might not be attainable for certain people, and that's fine. But there's certain things we can use on our end and certain softwares we can use on the customer-facing end probably. They're going to automate more and make it easier, make it less excusable for things to go wrong because technology was there to assist. More tracking, operations, route optimization for deliveries and pickups. There's no reason
I feel like this thing was listening to us.
There is no reason not to lay things out the right way. Stop going blindly. At least know which route you're going to take, right? Scheduling and the maintenance prediction for rental items. So knowing what needs more maintenance than others.
I think not only was it listening to us, I think maybe we taught it something.
It has, for RTO dealers, last thing, our RTO dealers and managers to best leverage this. Start with payment management. This directly impacts your bottom line and customer relationship. Focus on customer data. Build comprehensive profiles to better understand payment patterns and preferences. Implement inventory tracking. Use AI to optimize your product mix and reduce losses. Train your team. Ensure staff can effectively use the tools while maintaining personal relationship with the customer. And I think that's the most important one. Again, I'm not saying that's right, but that's just some things it told us. And we can take what we need. We can take what's right and balance it out.
What's crazy is that we didn't even say that. We said all that without asking it. So we didn't say it as the question. It's giving us the answer. And as we are digesting it and putting it out for our listeners, it literally saying what you should be doing is what we're saying it should be doing. Yeah. At least we have the bones on the other end of it to say, that's probably a good idea.
So it knows something.
Right.
It's not something we had to go train for years and years and give all this information to. Just starting right there, we've only put a couple things into here while we're talking on these episodes. And again, like you said, it gave us to-dos for everyone to do after this.
So just so you guys are aware, there was prep time and things that we talked about going into this, and we put it in AI, and within 5 minutes, it came up with the exact same thing that we came up with, and it only took you dial it in, say what you needed to say, and here we are.
Yeah.
And not that we're saying that you want to cut out the human interaction or the thought processes, because you really want to be smart about what you're doing.
Right.
But at the same time, look at that.
How can you allow more time for yourself to be smarter and to use your best talents? Don't replace you, but allow yourself to be at your full potential.
Well, the last time that I talked about time management, I think I should have included AI. That's a whole topic that I did not add in there. But now that I'm thinking about it, and as we've gone over it, and we've talked about it, we've been on calls, we make calls, we have conversations, we come up with the topics that we probably want to talk about and scratch the surface on.
Yeah.
And here we are, and there's an idea where it says, you know what, these are some great ideas and some topics we should talk about, right off the bat. And not that we did anything wrong, but again, it's a tool to make your life faster and easier and more organized with the time that you have. So what do you do with the rest of the time that you have? Make some sales calls.
Do the things that you're complaining about not getting done.
Right. The collections and making sure that at the end of the day, you've gotten every bit out of your day. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing, is because I know that time is more valuable than it used to be. And I'm not saying that it was ever less important to be with your family or ever less important to think about your future, but it was just a cultural norm that, you know what, it's going to take longer. You mind working 60 hours, but you knew it was going to happen. And nowadays it's like, but if I don't have to, why would I?
Or if I want to work that time, how much more can I get done?
How much more can I get done?
I'm not just getting done what I have to.
Right.
I am able to give myself time back to invest into learning, training, trying new things, and just being involved in it, and it makes you happier.
I used to listen to these guys on YouTube, and I'm not going to say the name of the guy who said it, but he was like, I used to basically, like, for 4 days of the week, I used to live at work, and I worked like 20-hour days. I would basically just be there all the time, and I would work all the time, and and he was like, that's what built character, and that's what built who I was. And the first person that was watching that with me was like, well, why would you do that? Why would you not want to just be better at what you're doing? And then you have to let off some steam. You have to breathe. You have to eat. You have to be you.
We're human.
Right. And, part of being human is a social interaction, whether you like it or not, is talking to human beings and being alive and not doing something that's this regimented kind of, I need to get this done. I need to get something. But you have to let off some steam.
Yeah.
You kind of just go crazy. And something that has also been to the forefront in the last probably decade or so is mental health. Mental health is a serious thing now. We have to be able to unwind. We have to be able to get away and put that away and go, you know what? I need to breathe. I need to think. I need to be. And it's not bad. So then on the flip side of that is, well, I'm not working as much. Well, then work smarter.
Right. How can you make it more enjoyable and make it more
Exactly.
efficient? So you're not dreading doing tasks that you should not dread.
Efficiency is the why.
I mean, it's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
Why someone would not want to do something to make your life easier when it's available.
Right. And it is available. And I think it's everywhere that seamless integration is going to start coming to your blender pretty soon. I've seen it on, not necessarily the AI part of it, and you can probably access AI through some of the smarter ones, but I've seen it in your refrigerator. It give you
there's
that.
going to be all these new products that we're going to have to learn how to sell.
It'll tell you, oh, you know what? You took out your milk for the last time, you didn't replace it. Now you have to add, and then it adds milk to your shopping list. Or you can do a shopping list from your refrigerator. I've even seen that you can order food from your refrigerator. That's like, what? I mean, really? But then the thought is, it's becoming so seamless. And you can fight it if you want to, but you're not going to get anywhere, right? It's one against the masses.
You're not going to control the way the world goes, so why not try to succeed in what it's giving you?
Well, you have to use the tools that are given, right? And I think we've mentioned it several times before, but when the car came out, there were people that held onto the horses. Talking about one of the situations that came up, I was talking to one of the vendors today. I was talking to Brian Rosen, and he was talking to me about a conversation that he had with, I think it was last year or the year before, but they were talking, I think it was at Meeting of the Minds, about the new technologies that had come up, and Chip Guy was talking about AI, and he made a reference to the horse and buggy versus the car. And there was people that did hold on to their horse and buggy, and eventually they were bought out by the people who went with the tractor and the car, because they can produce more in a shorter period of time. And guess what? That one lot that they had versus the lot next to them produced more food. They got more things taken care of in a timely manner, and they weren't burnt out so much at the end of the day. So they were able to do a lot more. Well, eventually, you just can't do it that way, the way it was done. And so it's like that wheel that just keeps on turning, and eventually it's going to turn with or without you. So holding on to it with two hands is probably Make it happen. I just remember a time frame, and I say this again, I'm showing my age, but I remember a time frame when nobody had cell phones. I couldn't imagine a day now without
your cell phone.
Right. And I hate to say that because I think it's a simpler life without it, but I don't use it just for that. I remember when the cell phones were literally just for phones. And then,
but it's a tool.
Now it's
an entertainment device.
You use it for entertainment. I use it for knowledge. I use it for application as far as adding, subtracting. I use that thing probably most for the I should probably get a tip calculator, but I use it for the tips when I'm going out. And I make sure I give somebody the right amount of money. And I go into my banking with it. I couldn't imagine life without it. Now I think that AI is going to be there. I think AI is going to come down the road and it's going to say, well, you can't imagine, what kind of life would you have without it?
But like think about the phone. Think about how revolutionary the iPhone was. Now all these new things they do with it, it's just these tweaks. Now the phone is the phone. You only had an iPhone if you were wealthy or you were cool enough or whatever. Now it's like, that's the first phone kids get. If you don't get an iPhone, you can't not get an iPhone really, or a Galaxy or whatever it is.
Smartphone.
You get a computer when you get a phone.
Right.
There's no, I just get something to text nowadays. AI is going to be just like that. It's not just going to be, I have these fancy tools that predict analysis and all this stuff. No, you're just going to have AI.
Right.
I mean, look at those. Have you seen those robots that Tesla's come out with?
Yes.
That stuff's coming. Whether you like it or not, someone's going to try it. Someone's going to invent it because there are people who want to try things.
Well, it's crazy now because, it's funny mentioning Elon because God only knows he's a part of everything. But,
right.
They have passed certain tests where the thought processes, the impulses from the brain or whatever are being used to select things or change a page or go beyond the normal face of the homepage. Right now, I'm selecting items. I'm selecting particular patterns and colors, and they're dialing it in. It's getting there. Pretty soon, it's going to be voice, and after voice, you're probably going to stick a sticker on your head. You're going to be able to talk to your phone regardless of the fact. But it's coming, and in the rent to own space, because I don't want to get too far into the weeds on this, but in the rent to own space, I think it's just so much. It would be so much easier when we start using AI, the utilization of it. Everybody that I've talked to in the past season, they've all said the number one thing that's coming down the pipe is AI. Now in 2025, it's here.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody about the CES. I think that you're going to see that all over CES this year. I think that you're going to see that in the integration in cars. I think you're going to see a lot more of voice integration with your phones. And I think that in this essence, shopping is going to be changed and completely thrown on its ear. I really do. And I want to see rent-to-own at the top of that.
I do too.
And I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be this great idea that if we don't utilize it, the horse and buggy. Who utilizes it first? I think the best and the different options that we have available in rent to own is who's going to use it first? Who's going to show us how to do it?
Who's going to come up with a cool project that they created based off AI?
Well, you know what's funny? The other day I was reading this article about Tesla and what Elon did, right? When Tesla first came out, they started, they had a lot of these patents and integrations, and he gave it all for free.
Yeah.
And a lot of people thought, why would he do that? The flip side of it is now a lot of what was done, a lot of what was picked up on was already was technology that he had put out there. Now they're basing it on the technology that was there. They didn't have to go reinvent the wheel. They used what they found. Well, guess what? He was already utilizing that.
Yeah.
So now everybody's using these charging stations that he invented, so he didn't have to change what they did. They have to change what they did. He's creating these pinnacle things, and while they're catching up, he's on the next thing. I see the same thing for rent to own. Whoever comes up with this idea, the way to utilize
it's going to get ahead.
They're going to get it.
Because then other people are going to copy.
Right.
But you're already going to be mastered at that.
Exactly.
And be on the next thing that's going to increase whatever it is you're looking at.
I'm going to tell you guys right now, if anybody is starting to do something with AI, you need to let me know, because I think that's what it's going to be.
Another episode on it too.
I think that we have it built out, and we have this store, whether it be the RTO Smart Store, whatever it is, that utilizes AI to its fullest. That's going to be the next store in RTO. Because I think that we've in the rent-to-own industry has hit a point where we have meeting of the minds, right? We have the A Pro situation where you have RTO World 2022, 2023, 2024. We travel cities, everybody's talking to each other, but that's just it. Where are the new ideas coming from?
Are sales getting harder to come by right now? Are you sick and tired of calling the same old numbers over and over and over? How about this? When your sales team tries to market some of the newest products that you just got, does this seem like you're just hitting the same context you had from last week or the week before? Do you have those same contexts on like 3 different sales sheets? Like, returns, paid in fulls, early purchase options, and blah, blah, blah. Are you frustrated over the same disconnected numbers, the same voicemails, or even worse? The only sales contact you get is the one contact who doesn't want anything and finally asks you to stop calling because they've already heard it this week. Twice. Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Me too. If you're tired of being sales stagnant and spinning your wheels to literally get hung up on, then try Gerard Marketing Solutions. They have the sales background expertise to help create new Facebook ads that not only produce new leads, but also quick results. Plus, learn to close more online sales leads by training with his talented sales specialists directly. Best of all, you get new contacts and leads that you need to grow your customer base and grow your revenues. Call Gerard Marketing Solutions and finally stop being sick and tired. Go to fastrtodeliveries.com. Once again, go to fastrtodeliveries.com.
Around it, there's more complicated things, than that.
The only thing AI can't do is the smell test.
Yeah.
And I would say that can't do it. But I also believe that we're right around the corner.
I do too.
We are right around the corner.
There's going to be something that comes out that we're going to be like, oh my gosh, this was it.
There's going to be a bot behind the counter going, but I see it. So in the beginning of season 4 last year, or maybe the end of season 3, I was talking to Joseph. It was somebody this guy is an amazing guy. He was one of the keynote speakers at RTO World in San Antonio. And we had met up and we talked a little bit. And he actually told me that he learned a lot about rent to own through the podcast. And we talked and we actually did a podcast. But, I got his book and it was talking about being on, there's that bell curve, there's that edge. And where you are can determine where you are in life. If you're on the front side, you're innovating. If you're on the back side, you're reacting. And I think a lot of what we're doing is reacting. Yeah. And right now, I think with the integration of AI, with the ideas of what we're talking about and how we can utilize that and coming up with this missing link, I think we can catapult ourselves to what we're missing. Because I do feel like there's this missing link in rent to own that it's coming. It's coming. And I'm not saying that we're riding the horse and there's the buggy. But I am going to say that I feel like we haven't caught up to all the technology yet. And when we do, if somebody can put that together, and I am working my butt off to find out who that is, how that is, and even doing it myself. But I think once we find that missing link, that rent to own is going to be a force to be reckoned with if we get there.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you coming in, man. I appreciate you coming in and doing this with me. 6 episodes. We made it through how to utilize AI, how it makes it better, how you can make it better, how you can use it to understand your inventory, your data, your organization, how it makes your day better, how it can get you to understand not only how to make new marketing, but understand the marketing that you already have, the people that you're selling to, the customers that you have, how do you utilize that to overcome objections and make better sales. I mean, I don't think there's anything that we haven't covered, but if there is, let us know.
Let us know.
So you got to hit us up at the show and let us know. If there's anything that we miss in this series, we are absolutely willing to come back and talk about this because I don't think AI is dead.
There's only going to be another 6-part series on something because there's going to be a whole new line after someone invents that new thing.
And we're going to talk about it in 6 parts. But and again, hit us up. You're always welcome to go on the website at the RTOshowpodcast.com. Take a look on there. You can see the episodes. You can see the pictures. You can see a little bit about us and how to sponsor the show. We don't make any money here. This is a free show, but we do live off of our sponsors. Vox Populi is a great sponsor, the platinum sponsor of the show, and the reason why we're able to do some of the things that we can do. If you have a question for me or Daniel, you can send it to the info at thertoshowpodcast.com or send it to me directly at pete@thertoshowpodcast.com. We will have a conversation about it, talk about it. Maybe we'll have it on our next series on AI. If you want to hit us up, please do so. You can also do it on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and now on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. And I will tell you guys, as always, get your collections low to get your sales high. Have a great one.